US History Praxis 2026 Social Studies Exam Teacher Cert Tips All You Need to Know. Question 1. Which document established the framework for the U.S. government in 1787? Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, the Constitution, Bill of Rights. The Constitution was drafted in 1787 and remains the supreme law of the U.S. Question 2. The Great Compromise at the Constitutional Convention created a one-house legislature, a two-house legislature, bicameral, the office of the Vice President, the Supreme Court. It balanced the interests of large and small states with the House and Senate. Question 3. Which event directly led to the United States entering World War II? The sinking of the Lusitania, the invasion of Poland, the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Battle of Midway. The December 7, 1941 attack prompted the U.S. declaration of war. Question 4. The Trail of Tears refers to the forced relocation of which group? Irish immigrants, Native Americans, Cherokee, enslaved Africans, Mormons. It was the forced removal of Cherokee and other tribes to Indian Territory. Question 5. Who was the primary author of the Declaration of Independence? George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams. Thomas Jefferson drafted the majority of the document. Question 6. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are known as the Bill of Rights, Progressive Amendments, Reconstruction Amendments, War Amendments. They were passed after the Civil War to abolish slavery and grant rights to former slaves. Question 7. What was the primary cause of the U.S. Civil War? Taxes on tea, disputes over slavery and states' rights, the War of 1812, gold discovery in California. The sectional conflict over slavery was the central cause. Question 8. The New Deal was a series of programs enacted by which president? Herbert Hoover, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson. FDR's New Deal aimed to provide relief during the Great Depression. Question 9. Which 1803 land deal doubled the size of the United States? The Gadsden Purchase, the Louisiana Purchase, the annexation of Texas, the Treaty of Paris. The U.S. bought the territory from France for $15 million. Question 10. The Jim Crow laws were designed to promote equality, enforce racial segregation, end the Great Depression, encourage westward expansion. These were state and local laws that enforced racial segregation in the South. Question 11. Which Supreme Court case ended separate but equal in public schools? Plessy v. Ferguson, Marbury v. Madison, Brown v. the Board of Education, Roe v. Wade. The 1954 ruling declared segregated schools unconstitutional. Question 12. The Manifest Destiny ideology suggested that the U.S. should stay out of foreign affairs. The U.S. was destined to expand across the North American continent. Slavery should be abolished immediately. Women should have the right to vote. It was the 19th century belief that U.S. expansion was divinely ordained. Question 13. Who was the first president of the United States? Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, John Hancock. Washington served as the first president from 1789 to 1797. Question 14. The Monroe Doctrine 1823 warned European nations against trading with China, further colonization in the Americas, entering World War I, using steamships. It established the Western Hemisphere as off-limits to European intervention. Question 15. Which movement was led by figures like Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony? Abolitionist movement, women's suffrage movement, temperance movement, labor movement. They fought for women's right to vote, achieved with the 19th Amendment. Question 16. The Cold War was a period of tension between the US and Great Britain, the Soviet Union, Germany, Japan. It was a global geopolitical struggle following World War II. Question 17. The Boston Tea Party was a protest against the Stamp Act, the Tea Act, the Quartering Act, the Intolerable Acts. Colonists dumped tea into Boston Harbor to protest taxation without representation. Question 18. Which battle is considered the turning point of the American Revolution? Yorktown, Bunker Hill, Saratoga, Lexington. The victory at Saratoga convinced France to support the American cause. Question 19. What was the Great Migration? The move of pioneers to Oregon, the movement of African Americans from the rural South to the urban North, the arrival of millions of Irish immigrants, the California Gold Rush. It occurred primarily between 1916 and 1970. Question 20. The Dust Bowl was a period of severe dust storms during which decade? 1890s, 1930s, 1950s, 1970s. It was an environmental disaster during the Great Depression.